deformed body racked with pain, an odor so foul it made courtiers faint. After his death, bodily fluids leaked from his coffin, only to be lapped up by stray dogs. This is a rarely told, grotesque truth about the death of Henry VIII of England, a monarch whose power seemed limitless, yet whose final days were a slow, humiliating collapse. Henry Tudor was born June 28, 1491. At just 17, he ascended to the English throne, hailed as Europe's most handsome prince. Tall, athletic, with golden red hair and a commanding presence, he was described by a Venetian ambassador as superior in beauty to any other Christian prince. But the man who embodied Renaissance vigor would not die in splendor. His downfall began with a single moment. In January 1536, at age 44, Henry suffered a devastating accident during a jousting tournament in Greenwich. His horse collapsed on him, leaving him unconscious for 2 hours. He survived, but the injury to his right leg never healed. The wound became a chronic ulcer, festering, oozing, and producing a stench so powerful it could be smelled long before he entered a room. For a vain king obsessed with appearances, it was a crushing humiliation. Courtiers were forced to endure the odor without showing disgust or face his wrath. Many historians believe the accident also caused brain damage, triggering paranoia, rage, and impulsive cruelty. That same year, Henry ordered the execution of his second wife, Anne Boleyn, on fabricated charges of adultery and treason. With limited mobility, Henry's weight ballooned. His once trim 89 centimeters waist swelled past 130 centimeters. He weighed over 180 kilograms and required a pulley system to move between rooms. Doorways were widened to accommodate his massive frame. Kitchen records reveal Henry consumed around 5,000 calories daily, mainly red meats, rich pies, wine, and beer, while ignoring vegetables. This indulgence, coupled with inactivity, accelerated his decline. His leg ulcers worsened. Medieval treatments, cauterization with hot irons, arsenic, and mercury-laced salves, and repeated bloodletting only worsened his condition. At times, bone was visible through rotting flesh. By his late 40s, his smell could be detected 3 rooms away. At 49, Henry married 19-year-old Catherine Howard, calling the union a return to youth. In truth, the marriage was a grotesque mismatch. Catherine, repelled by his deformities and odor, sought comfort with a young courtier. When discovered, Henry ordered both lovers executed. His final marriage, to Catherine Parr in 1543, was more political than romantic. Parr became more nurse than wife, tending to his ailments and enduring his volatile moods. In his final years, Henry likely suffered from diabetes, severe gout, hypertension, and heart failure. Some speculated syphilis, though historians dispute this. The king oscillated between screaming in agony and sinking into long, silent depressions. His paranoia deepened. Friends, advisors, and even family members were executed on suspicion of treason. 9 days before his death, he ordered the beheading of Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey. Convinced assassins might strike through his food, Henry ordered elaborate tasting rituals and utensil inspections. This obsession may have been fueled by strokes or worsening mental illness. As gangrene set into his legs, the stench became unbearable. Courtiers carried perfume-soaked cloths to their faces in his presence. The once proud court was reduced to a chamber of sickness and whispers. By the winter of 1546-47, Henry was bedridden. Recurrent fevers, likely from blood infections, racked his body. His breathing grew labored, and he slipped in and out of delirium, murmuring the names of his deceased wives, particularly Jane Seymour and some whispered Anne Boleyn. Yet no one dared speak of his impending death. Predicting a monarch's death was treason under English law. On January 27, 1547, Henry summoned Archbishop Thomas Cranmer. Unable to speak, he squeezed the archbishop's hand when asked if he died in the Christian faith. In the early hours of January 28, at age 55, Henry VIII breathed his last. But the indignities did not end there. Because of his size, a special coffin was built. Embalming was crude, involving removal of organs and stuffing the body with herbs. While awaiting his funeral in the chapel of Sion Abbey, the coffin began to leak putrid fluids. Chroniclers claimed stray dogs entered at night and licked the floor beneath it. A grotesque image of a king once feared by all. Henry was buried on February 16th, 1547, in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, beside Jane Seymour, mother of his only legitimate son, Edward VI, ironically Edward, whose birth had driven many of Henry's most ruthless acts, reigned just 6 years before dying at 15. The throne passed his daughters, Mary I and then Elizabeth I, whose reign would mark a golden era. Henry VIII had defied the Pope, created the Church of England, and altered the course of history. Yet his end was not majestic. It was a slow, stinking collapse, stripped of dignity. His story and Allison were observed. A man who began with so much promise, beauty, and ability ended as a grotesque caricature himself. His story is a reminder: no crown, no power, and no legacy can shield anyone from the decay of the body. The man who once commanded England's destiny left the world not in triumph, but in a leaking coffin, the air heavy with the smell of death.